So we are here conducting the calibration for the persistent cough support with biofeedback. So this is the new feature of the latest version of Class 64. You can see here that we're using version 2022-99-510-010. And in this version, before conducting calibration, the device is testing whether or not we have the harnesses on and if the harness are connected to the device. So this calibration and this check of the harness takes about 1 minute. So in this case, because I'm doing a virtual session, a subspace session, you will see in here that we get this warning message. So no electrode connection detected, and the calibration will continue in subspace mode. So we click here, OK, and now it's going to resume the calibration as we are used to. So we're going to give it some time. Calibration should take no more than 1 minute. Sometimes when it takes longer than 1 minute, it's because it's detecting or probably repairing something else. But in here, we can see that it already identified geopathic stress detected, current crust detected, and the correctable geopathic flaws as well. So because of that, you see the device working box is still on. It's showing us that there are some anomalies in there. Okay. So we're going to give it some time. And as you can see, today I'm working with the device connected. Because of that, the video is going to be a little bit longer than we're used to in my tutorials, but it's going to be totally worth it. So stay tuned. Okay, so now that the calibration is fully conducted, we get this message: calibration completed, proceed to test. So we are going to click OK, yes, and we're going to go all the way back to our main matrix. So we click on test. So to remove this box, we're going to double click. And now, before heading up to do the test, I like to put in here on the situation hole, what is it that I'm working on? Okay, this is pretty much to set my intention. Again, this is not a mandatory step, it's just something that I love doing. So I'm going to write in here cough, and I'm going to click here prepare test. Okay, and then I like to go here under organ generator, and I'm going to write in here an affirmation. So I will work in writing here my lungs work perfectly. So we're going to click here under interactive spiritual harmony. We can use 999, and in here I'm going to add more patients to subspace treatment. So in order to open this right panel, this white right panel, we go under here under Phaser X, move all the way down to add more patients to subspace treatment, and you will open this white right banner in here. In here, we can type in the name of the extra clients that we want to add to the session. We can also add in here affirmations. We can also add in here any prayers, anything that you think that is going to be useful for the session and for the intention, you can add it in here. If we want to also close this white band, we go back here into Phaser X, and then we are going to click under Hide Patients List of Subspace Treatment. Okay, so before leaving in here, don't forget to activate the organ field, and the way we know it's being activated is when we have this flying butterfly. Now we are going to close this box, close this, hide, close again, and we're back on the main matrix. So now we are going to click test, and this test is going to take approximately 3 minutes and 50 seconds, so almost 4 minutes. So now I'm going to hit pause, so you are not waiting there for 4 minutes. So in the meantime, let's take a look of the bar hope. So in here, we see that the voltage is within the norm, and we see the amperage is at 77. So when the amperage is like this, it's probably showing you an emotional stress. It can be an indicator of depression or emotional stress. It can also be an indicator of some neurotransmitters that are out of balance, such as oxytocin and also dopamine. Okay, so we're going to keep an eye on those. We can also see that the oxygenation is quite low, and this is it makes total sense because in this case we're working with cough, or we're also paying attention to everything that is related to the respiratory system. So this makes sense of what we're treating. Regarding the proton pressure and the electron pressure, we see in here that is pretty much balanced. So I usually like to see these two numbers with about 5 points of difference. So right now it is okay. That means that the pH is balanced. Okay. So following up with the resistance frequency path, we see in here that everything about 15,000 it is excess of nervous energy. So this we can translate this into excess of stress or psychic energy, psychic attack, or anything that has to be with kind of like interruption to the neurological pathways. Anything that it can be influencing or blocking up the way that the brain waves are working as well. Okay, so now that we're done with that and with the test, we're going to click here, plus please load new info report with SOC. And now we have a list of options of things that we can do. Okay, so the first thing that pretty much caught my attention was this teeth decay. So probably we can have a connection with the teeth. We also see in here depression remedy, and this makes sense because the amperage was very low, okay, in here. But we look in here, the most reactive line is showing us in here pulmonary and lungs disease. Okay, so this is like very accurate to what we want to work on. And this is what I love about the system, that after finishing up the test, you always have in here pretty much like the most critical things or what the client needs more support with. Okay, this is why our system is so beautiful. So if we continue to analyze a little bit more on the main matrix right after the result, we also see in here allergies. So we have pollen and dust allergies. Okay, we also see in here the homeopathic formula to relieve allergies. Okay, so there are multiple things in here that are all interconnected with the theme that we're working, which is persistent cough. Okay, so now what we're going to do, or what I always love doing, is going in here into research library, Nelson report, and now we're going to click in here, make a Nelson medicine report, and we're going to see what are the most stressed organs. Okay, so memory circuits, parietal lobe brain, frontal lobe brain, medulla oblongata, pineal, and we also have in here lungs. Okay, so I'm going to copy this. Usually what I like to do is that I have a notepad always open, and I'm going to copy and paste those stress organs in here. I'm going to remove and double space. So remove the commas and double space each organ. And because we saw there lungs, I'm going to add lungs in here. Okay. Okay. Moving forward, I will also write the emotion that is here in red, blame. Okay. And let me just double check. The possible blockages of flow is stress. Okay, so I'm going to add all of that into my notes. I have stress there. Now we can close this, and we're going to go into the risk profile. click here to load the current patient. Okay. Now I'm going to select the 3 from the bottom and 3 from the top. I will copy this information 3 areas above, and I'll make sure that I'll bring all the risks into my notebook. Okay, so food poisoning, double space, sugar regulation, double space, amoeba, liver bacteria, and hypoadrenia. Okay. One thing that is very important when we are in the risk profile is to check where is the cell bar. So in here, we can see that it's right in the middle in adaptation. So throughout the session, one of the goals is to bring this bar all the way down here. So from the risk profile, I always like to click here under therapies. So I can just paste in here the risk. I'm going to paste right in here the organs that we previously selected. I'm going to put in here blame. I will also add fear. And then we are going to click here to activate the Schumann wave. Okay, now I'm going to click here under multimedia to activate the spiritual healing. In my case, this is a very important step during the session because by clicking in here, it takes less than a minute, but this is activating the connection of this. It's activating the connection, but it's also aligning the spirit, the mind, and the body. Okay. So I'm going to minimize this, and before starting all the treatments in here, I like to go back to the main matrix. So let's close here. I'm going to open my 3D body viewer, iridology, degeneration scan, disease dictionary. Okay, and before moving forward, I'm going to make a quick stop in the NLP. Let's go here. So we have, I will just want to double check the neurotransmitters. Okay, and I'm going to open here the dark field analysis, click on blood treatment, long-term active therapy to bring all this information into the disease dictionary. So we're pretty much loading the piggybacks of the disease dictionary, and we can open 4 disease dictionaries. Now we're going to close in here to activate the shaping function. We're back in the main panel, shaping function, and because we did that quick stop in the NLP panel, now we have all the neurotransmitters in here ordered by value from the lowest value to the highest value. So we can double click each of the items that are above 104. You see in here we have so many neurotransmitters that need support. This makes sense because I'm treating a group. And now we can also check all the ones that are below 60. Okay, although love is 63, I always like to include love here in my list, and I also want to make sure that we have oxytocin here on my list. So we're going to disengage and engage. I also like to provide a few reward samples, and now we can go back all the way to the main matrix by clicking on test. So now that we are here, there are 2 things that I want us to do. One is we're going to click in here under search. We're going to click cough, and search, and we're going to open the custom sub panel. So this is part of the premium version, but it's so useful. So if you don't have the premium version yet, I totally encourage you to get it. So now we are going to start adding remedies into this list. So in here we have the item 4406, Okay, we have 6944. This is for persistent cough and phlegm. This is for frequent cough. This Narajani is for the chest tissue salts. Biofeedback for cold, laryngitis. Okay, let's go all the way back in here. Chronic coughing. Chronic cough. Okay. Cherries. Asthmatic and bronchial infections. Cold. So what I like to do is that I like to select at least 10 remedies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. So I went a little bit be above and beyond, but that's okay. That's fine. I will actually add a few more, okay? Because we saw in the barcode that the oxygenation was quite low, so I also want to search in here a remedy for that. So I like to use the Nelson one. Okay, so we can also use the Nelson depression remedy. And there is one in here for the lungs. And there's one in here for oxygen stimulator. Okay, this one for the lungs. And I do believe that treating kidneys and liver is also important. So I'm going to add tonic support for the liver as well. Okay, so once we have all the remedies in here, we are going to click SAP. And this is the first button in here. It's not actually a SAP, it's a treat. So it's going to treat each of the remedies list that we added for about, well, it should be 7 seconds each. Okay, so we're going to verify how long it's going to take. I'm going to put in here my clock to make sure how long it's going to take each one. So I don't know if right now it's conducting like a 30-second SAP per item or what. Let's see. So in the meantime, while we have that going in here, what we can do is that we can go to the body viewer, and once in here, we can go program start, load unconscious choices. Okay, it's treating the lymphatic health, the lymph system. Now we can click in here, treat disease path for all trauma. We can stop the animation. Okay. Okay, now we can continue selecting here under organ system. We can click here lungs. It is also important, since we're here, to activate the lymph and all the channels of detoxification. So because of that, I'm going to go here to the stomach. I'm going to click large intestine. Okay, let me see in the edge. I'm going to select adrenal from the endocrine system. I like to activate everything in my immune system. We also need to treat the kidneys and the throat, because with all the coughing, the throat can be quite sensitive. So we're going to go back in here to chakras, and we're going to select throat. In acupuncture, we can select lungs. And then under therapies, we can select in here anti-inflammation. Under therapies, we're going to select anti-infection. And now we're going to go here under miscellaneous, homeopathic extracts. And in here, I like to add the nosodes, isodes, and sun remedies under homeopathic remedies in here. So let me copy and paste this information. Now we're going to click here under activate and close. And before leaving the body viewer, I always like to click here aura cleanse. Now we can minimize this. And as we can see, while we're activating and working the body viewer, we see how each of these items are being treated. So right now, I'm still trying to figure out for how long is treating each item, because okay, it's been 4 minutes, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's say it takes about a minute each right now. Okay, now while this is still working in here, let's go and set up one of the disease dictionaries. So let's just put this one in here. We can select cough, show text, and go to therapy. We are going to click here, activate. And while this one is doing his thing, I'm going to look in here, whooping cough, show text and go to therapy, calibrate reactivity, and in the meantime, I'm going to create a new disease dictionary SAP with all the remedies that I found in the main matrix. Okay, so we're going to click in here. I usually like to use Zoho Wellness. That is my company. So, and the reason why I like to use that is because by using ZW, my new SAP is going to be at the bottom of the list. So it's not going to alter the alphabetical order of the disease dictionaries that comes with the system. So we're going to click in here. You can change this initials. You can put whatever you want. Some people like to write custom SAP and then the name of the SAP. But in my case, I like to use this type of template. So Zoho Wellness Persistent Cough Super SAP. So I'm going to click OK. You want to save this name? Yes. So we're going to go all the way down to my list. You can see in here the new SAP that I have added to the list. Okay, so it does takes about 2 minutes. Okay, that's what I wanted. So it takes 1 minute each. So that's why we have to be very careful with how many do we want to select, because although it's going to be working on his own, we also want to be very conscious of the time. Okay. So let's go back here. I was about to create a new custom disease dictionary. So for that, we're going to click here, show text, and go to therapy. And now that we have all this blackboard, if we can say, we are going to copy and paste the signatures that we found in the matrix in here. And after doing that, we're going to click edit and save. Now we can click calibrate reactivity. Okay, and I'm going to open one more time, and in here I would like to open an acupoints. For the acupoints, I'm going to look for the following points. So LU8, and I'm going to treat it. Next, we're going to click bioresonance testing. Bioresonance testing in all of the windows that I have previously opened for disease dictionary. The other thing that I want to make sure that I set up is the degeneration scan. So to activate this, first we're going to click in results degeneration scan. And we can see in here the biological conflict that is implicated in this. So self-devaluation conflict responding to the specific location of the disability. Okay, and this right now it is on the right side of the body, the lymphatic vessels. So we're going to click in here under add additional piggyback therapies, and under miscellaneous we can use the same signatures that I have recently used to create my disease dictionary to support persistent cough. And under here, we can paste the risk that we previously found on the risk profile. So we're going to paste that in here. We can click here on focus on item loaded. to make sure that we're focusing on this area, specific area. Now, I always like to add the emotional release, the detox, the tree brain degeneration. We're going to click in here and load to load all that information. We can add a 2 in here. So this treatment is going to run for 12 minutes. We're going to click in here and treat. And now we can activate iridology. So let me just click this so I can still see my matrix. I always like to see my device working box to make sure how much time do I still have to come back before I come back to the main matrix. So in here, in the iridology, we are going to go to all the areas. In the facial, eyes, and gum diagnosis, I do 2 things, or I either go straight to brain anatomy, or sometimes I like to do auto search and see what the subconscious brings out. So now it's telling us that we need to activate the piggyback for the lymphatic and rheumatic constitution. So we're going to double click the picture and we're going to activate the piggyback. I like to double click the entire picture and I always pay attention on the rectification in here. So I'll continue to click on it until I'm satisfied with the rectification number. So I'm looking for a rectification above 85, between 85 and 104. So we're going to click again. Okay, oops. Let's see, 95, okay. Now I'm going to continue. And although right now we are treating the lungs and it has apparently anything to do with the eyes, I always like to make sure that I'm either clicking eye anatomy or eye strains, and this is pretty much like a way of helping and supporting all my clients. Okay, especially nowadays that we're all using a lot of screens, I think everything that we can do to support the health of our eyes is always welcome. Now under miscellaneous, let me just double check. We're going to add in here lymphatics, and this is just to activate all the detoxification of the body. Okay, moving forward, we're going to double click on inflammatory response. We can double click in there until we have good rectification. So before rectifying the inflammatory response, I will move to the left area to click lungs, and now I will click on the white area to make sure that you're treating all the areas of this picture. So we're going to click in here as many times as we need until we get a very good rectification. Very good. So now we have 98% of rectification, which is really good. Now in here under iridology's choice, I'm going to look for the lungs. I prefer this picture, and I will do exactly the same thing. So if my client indicates that they have pain in a specific side of the body, then I will move the foci into that area. In this specific session, because I'm working with multiple clients, I'm going to move the foci to a white area just to make sure that I'm treating everything in that picture. And again, I will continue to double click until I have a good rectification. Sometimes I click way too fast, and then when I notice that the rectification was good, I had already clicked. Okay, so probably we need to take, slow a little bit in the clicking in here so you can check the rectification before you move forward. Okay, now we move on the anatomy screen, and in here I always like to work in the autonomic nervous system, because in here we have all the connections of our nervous system and then the vagus nerve with every single organ. So we're going to move the foci right here under lungs, activate piggyback. If there is a lot of phlegm and mucus, we can also click in here mucus. If there is inflammation, we can click in here inflammation. I love to use this one for coughing, ease inflammation, provide allergy relief, stimulate detox, because in case if there's a lot of phlegm and a lot of mucus, we want to make sure that that comes out. And we're going to also add in here stimulate emotional stability and stimulate spiritual stability. So again, I will double click until I get the rectification that I'm looking for. And then in here under quadrant repair, I will do the same, ease inflammation, provide allergy relief, stimulate detox, and I will move the foci to the lungs areas. Activate the piggyback. Now I always like to double check in here the suggestions. Okay, so it's telling us that we need to provide adrenal liquid. That is a remedy that we can find in the main matrix. And I also like to double check in here the probable medical history. Sometimes we get in here very good hints of what are the things that we also need to focus and work on, such as there is a chiropractor blockage disturbance. So we can also work on the spinal panel to make sure to restore the energy flow. Okay, in here I want to activate the sacred geometry. And finally, I will open the homeopathic singular, and I will just put my cursor and double click on the last item. Then, before leaving the iridology, I'll go back into anatomy and I will leave it here. I'm going to minimize this, and you will see that right now we're almost done treating all the remedies that we selected from the main matrix. Okay, so now that this app is done, I'm going to hide this and we're going to go all the way back into my risk profile. Click here by number, by value. Respiratory, we're going to double click in here. Now we're going to click in virtual doctor tests. Now I'm going to make sure that I click activate positive polarity and click automatic balancing for each of the treatments that I want to activate. Now that my device working box is done, I go back in here into my virtual doctor, train all. We can go back in here into my acupoints and we can continue to treat LU08. You can see in here is for cough, asthma, sneezing, and chronic runny nose. This acupoint is also good for circulation issues. So when we have acupoints that needs lots of clickings, it means that it's really a wellness necessity that our clients have. It means that there is not, and the energy is not flowing through that specific point. And what we're doing with the frequencies that we're sending is that we are declotting that point to allow the energy to continue to flow. Okay, so I'm not going to treat again until we rectify to 100, just because I want to make sure that we have enough time to do everything that I want to show you. So right in here, the automeridian therapy is suggested and the hololinguistic therapy is suggested. So we already activated the hololinguistic therapy, which is right here. Now we're going to go to the automeridian allergy. We're going to click here, Start Meridian Therapy. And while we're doing that, I'm going to continue to click on here until I rectify this point. I'm going to retest and go back into my acupoints. And I will do this until, until it rectifies. Okay, so back here in the universal panel, we're going to open the acupuncture pictures and consciousness form testing. And because I want to make this a little bit faster, we're going to go open the consciousness form test. And right in here, we can add the exact points that I want to treat. So I can treat all those points at the same time. We can also do one by one, depending on your time. Okay, so now we're going to click start. And right here under the acupuncture points picture, you see this number in here. It means the rectification, and also the bar that we have in here will indicate whether or not the acupoint is being rectified. So if the bar is red, it means that the point is not being rectified. Sometimes this bar will turn yellow, but we're aiming for this bar to be like blue, or we can call this like teal, like a teal color. When it's teal, it means that we have reached maximum rectification. So what I love about our system is that we have multiple ways of helping and supporting our clients. So the ideas that I have with this type of videos is to show you different options. And it doesn't mean that you have to follow everything that I'm doing like a step by step, but I hope that this video is going to give you ideas. Okay, so this is what I was talking earlier about. So when we see this teal bar, it means that we have reached maximum rectification. So we have in here 100%. Now we can look for the next point. Okay, so I'm going to look for, I want to treat SP12, Chong Mei. We're going to activate in here Chong Mei. Whoops. Okay. So treating or helping to support clients who has persistent cough, asthma, or allergies is not a thing that we are going to be able to solve in one session. For example, most of the times, not even in my case, because I do sessions that are sometimes 1 hour, 1 hour and a half. If I do live sessions for my family, sometimes that is 2 hours. But sometimes while I'm conducting the session, I'll see that my clients will start coughing and coughing and coughing a lot. So that means that we are working on this, and that we are actually activating all the pathways to get rid of toxins. But the funny part is that when I'm pretty much like reaching the end of my session, by that time, pretty much they have all stopped coughing and they feel a great difference. So other thing that we can do with the system is that we can always work on the class portal. So let me show you that. We're going to open in here our class portal, and again, I'm not saying that you should be doing all of this, everything at once. I just want to show you the different modalities. Sometimes what I do is that I will connect my clients directly into class portal. So we go here, class basic training. Oops. And we're going to select in here the clients. In this case, I'm going to select this client. She's been dealing with asthma for so many years, and now in here we can either activate like the cough treatment, whooping cough. Okay, in her case, I'll also do asthma balance, asthmatic bronchitis, and in here we can check the auto test. I usually like to do auto test to see the training time that comes out in the system. So if I see that the training time is less than 25 minutes, for me, the system is indicating that this is not a wellness priority. So I will continue to check different signatures in here to see which one is the one that she is needing the most. So let me see in here, whooping cough, 10. So in today's case, it seems that she's not needing either the whooping cough, or the asthmatic right frequencies, but we're going to check in here airborne allergies, okay, allergic reaction. Okay, now we're finding that she needs 30 minutes of this. So in this case, I will run it for 60 minutes, but I also want to see what the system is indicating for allergies. Allergies relief, 22. Okay, so the airborne allergies was the highest, so I'm going to add 60 minutes in here, and I will activate it. Now we're going to go all the way back to the system, and as you can see in here, we are working on the last two acupoints. So in this case, the system is sending signals to balance the ear channel, and it just finished doing the government vessel channel. So we're almost done with the acupuncture panel. Okay, now we can see in here that the working box have stopped. So we're going to close in here. In this panel, we don't have a rectification, but we have the resonance percentage and the coherence percentage. One of the things that we can use as an indicator of rectification is this green bar. So if the bar is completely full of green, it means rectify 100%. So in this case, I would say that it's around 90%, but because of the time, I'm going to leave it like this. So we're going to close in here, so it's saying no more therapy suggested. If time allows it, I will recommend you to go here under max treatment, and you need to type in I am responsible, exactly like this, so you can open this box. So we're going to click in here, yes, for all the 5 questions, and now I will suggest us to do the auto drive vector. So usually this takes about 8 minutes. Sometimes it takes a little bit less. It really depends on the client. So 8 minutes is when it is a really wellness priority that we did it out of our home. If someone that we see regularly comes into session, then probably this will take less than 8 minutes. So for example, in my case, I conduct sessions on myself every week. So I do remember that the first time that I did this, it took me, I think it was a little bit more than 8 minutes. But as I continued to do it, like I'll say after a few weeks, it takes less and less and less. So the last time I did it last week, it took less than 2 minutes for me. So this is a good indicator that we are changing things with the system, and that things that are blocked are becoming unblocked. So one of the things why I also like to use the auto bar hope is because when we do this, it's going to continue to send the signatures, and it's going to continue to do the treatment until it rectifies. So instead of us like clicking and clicking and clicking multiple times until we get a rectification, I rather do it like this. So now we have 6 minutes left in here, and we're going to use that time to see how the cancer scan is doing. So now we see in here it is 47% rectification, but I also like to see in here the love index imbalance. So we're looking for love index corrected. So now we're going to add 3 more minutes, click 3 and OK, and we're going to wait. So we can also use this time to check the zappings that we are doing on the disease dictionary. So we can open all the boxes and see how things are going. So we see it is pretty much reaching like 70%. We can go all the way back in here. So the aura repair is done. We see in here 92%. So if we want, we can click in here on the lungs and we can start therapy for the lungs. In this case, we'll see the rectification right in here. So we can close in here and go back into the universal panel. So again, this is one of the things that I like to do for my sessions in supporting cough and persisting cough. For the following sessions that I'll do with these clients, I will probably spend some time in the VSR panel, and in there alone, we can be we can be the entire hour, or sometimes I like to let it run for 20 to 25 minutes on the lungs. Other things that we can do is that in the main panel, we can conduct a zap of 9 minutes for cough. So usually when we're doing 9-minute zaps, is for things that we want the body to stop doing or the things that we want to get rid of. So if I have some time after completing this treatment in here, I'm going to show you that. So we have 2 minutes left. Okay, now we're going to click in here under energetics and make sure that we are going to click in here where it says autoaggressive immune dysfunctions. So in psychosomatics, usually the approach is that when we have unresolved emotional stress, suppressed emotions, and internal conflicts, they're all related to our territory. It is a conflict that is related to fear, but fear that is pretty much connected with our territory. So in the psychosomatics theory, it says that when a person is constantly coughing, it is pretty much like the biology or the biological way of expressing all the things that you don't feel comfortable of sharing or saying or expressing. But at the same time, it is connected with how you're feeling in your territory, okay? So we can use this example. Imagine that there is a dog, and this dog is always paying attention and taking care of his territory. When an strange comes in and steps into his space, what is the dog going to do? It's going to bark. So the barking of the dog is defending his territory. So in psychosomatics, in humans, that is a program that we inherit from the animal kingdom. So when we're coughing, it is pretty much similar to when dogs are barking. So now that we're done in this screen, we're going to hide it. We're going to close. Again, if we have time, we can go in here into the short circles under ears and etc. We can click here under lungs. We can double click until we get a rectification in here. Usually when we're in this panel, it should take about 10 seconds. So this is like a very short therapy. Again, everything depends on the time that you have when we're working with the system. So we have like 100%. I'm satisfied with that. The other thing that we can do is that we can go here to look for the connection to the spine. And we can click the items that are highlighted in red or light fuchsia. If we have time, we can click all the other areas that are with the pink background. So as I was previously mentioning about the psychosomatics, so some common emotions that are related to coughing are connected to feeling unheard, unable to express yourself, suppressing anger, sadness, grief. Also, it can be connected to fear, anxiety, chronic stress that are affecting the nervous system. It can also be connected with the need for attention, protection, or emotional support. And it can also be connected with the internal tension after a conflict or shock, or something like prolonged emotional pressure. Let me see here. So in some psychosomatic models, the lungs and bronchus are symbolically related to territory and safety, but they're also related to life energy and freedom, deep emotional pain or separation, or survival stress. So talking about survival, we can go in here under time therapy. If we feel like the issue comes from survival stress, we can always work that in here in the reticular formation. We can check holistic organic health restorer, and in here is going to let us know for how long do we need to run this program. So this is an indicator that probably it is the clients that we're treating in here, they're in survival mode. So because of that, we have to treat this for 20 minutes. I'm not going to activate this right now for the video, but I'm going to make sure that I do this after closing the session, after closing the recording of this video, I mean. The other thing that I feel that is very important highlighting in here is that we have teething pain. So this kind of like looking at this and also connecting this with all the studies and all the information that I have about psychosomatics is that the when we feel that our territory is being compromised, we have an animal program that we actually inherited, and as animals do, like for example, if someone is entering the territory of a dog, they're going to start by barking, and barking is an alert telling the intruders that you shouldn't be here. But if that person of that other animal is going to continue to move forward, eventually the dog is not going to continue to bark, but it's going to go into biting mode. So because of that, it makes a lot of sense in here to see that we are already into biting mode, because if you remember previously in the session when we were checking at the celly bar, it was in the middle. So we're not sending an like we're not sending signals that okay, you're entering my territory, you need to stop. We have bypassed that probably a long time ago. So right now we are in the defending mode, and because of that we can have a teething pain. In here we can double check how many minutes do we need, and we see we need 20 minutes for this as well. So I will definitely encourage you to treat the teething pain and the reticular formation, each of them for 20 minutes. If it's not in one single session, you can do that in the following sessions. So for the time being, I'm going to close this, and we're going to go all the way back to body face therapy, just to show you that every time that we're about to finish a session, I like to come here to body scan and face therapy, so we can dissipate all the foci and we can send signatures that are going to correct and align all the chakras and the aura. So you have seen this previously in all my other videos, so I'm not going to record all this in here, so you're not wasting your time with this. But I do wanted to say thank you so much for watching my videos. If you have any questions, you can always write them down below. If you would like to have more information about psychosomatics regarding this or other topic, please send me a message. And if you would like to be part of my biofeedback support group, send me a message and I will add you into my WhatsApp group. So we do have live sessions once a month, the second Monday of the month. And in those live sessions, you're going to be able to ask questions and I'll be able to find or show you the answers with the system. So thank you so much for watching. I wish you a wonderful day, and I'll see you again in one of my other tutorials. Goodbye.